Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining today's webinar. I'm Laura Milojevic. I am the Director of Marketing and Business Development at SimpleFi Solutions. We have one of our managing partners, John Essig, presenting on today's webinar with the topic of SAP Planning and Consolidations Roadmap Evaluation. After the call, we'd love to help you. If you're considering Oracle OneStream, we'd love to explain how we can better support your enterprise. So if you're interested in discussing, please reach out to John or myself afterward, and we can get a call set up. And now I think I will hand it over to you, John. Thanks.
Great, thanks, Lauren. Again, goal today to help kind of understand SAP's strategic direction where they're putting their investment in, as well as the detailed product roadmap information. I won't go through that in a ton of granularity, but we are happy to provide a copy of this presentation to anyone who's interested. So first off, we'll start out by covering that product strategy direction for both SAP Planning and Consolidation Solutions, and then we'll follow that up by specifically covering off three key products in the SAP portfolio, namely SAP Business Planning and Consolidations, SAP Group Reporting for S4, so consolidation solution, and SAP Planning and Analytics within the Analytics Cloud. All right. So at a high level, want to kind of provide the background to why SAP is pointed in the direction that they are today. First of all, from a cloud perspective, that's where the vast majority of organizations are going, or are on their way today. SAP itself has said they are a cloud company powered by SAP HANA and are committed to delivering innovative applitions in the cloud. And what does that mean? That SAP has a cloud-first strategy that's really aligned with the market in general. Consolidations. On the consolidation side, continuous accounting is really the forefront to SAP strategy for S4. So most organizations today, may be closing their GL in 5 days, and large complex organizations may be spending another couple days for their consolidations close, right? With continuous accounting, you can shrink that. Your consolidations can be performed real time, including the automated eliminations that are sitting on top of that, right? So SAP strategy is really bringing consolidations back to the core. Doesn't need to be a standalone app. And that's aligned with, for example, Gartner's strategic expectations of software vendors that consolidation should be part of core ERP by 2024. SAP is a little ahead of schedule. I'll share some of that information in a bit. On the planning side, things impacting SAP's strategic direction, traditional corporate and EPM tools have fallen short in a few different areas. One, on the departmental planning side. So many tools like BPC, like Oracle Essbase, like OneStream, do a great job at corporate planning, but don't extend out to departmental sales and operations, outside of that corporate finance view, right? They're Excel-based, they don't engage with that user base, and they're expensive from a licensing perspective. So that's prohibitive. So that's on the planning side. On the analytics and predictive, organizations, since I started in consulting, have been asking, around predictive. How do we incorporate predictive into our planning process? And historically, that's been another license, another point solution. And then analytics, right? You have a million different tools for analytics and reporting out there today. So really, what Gartner and SAP are looking at is these solutions should be coming together in the future. One tool for analytics, for predictive, for planning, for corporate planning, departmental planning. That's the direction that actually, if you look at Gartner's report, they've split this out between consolidations versus planning and analysis, right? If you want some information on SAP's planning strategy, I've provided a link at the bottom of this slide where you can read kind of a targeted blog that they spell out their strategy around planning. Overall, so what does that mean from a product perspective? What is SAP doing? Again, they're moving their ERP and their consolidations onto one platform to help enable continuous accounting, right? So that as you're closing your GL on day 5, you're doing your corporate consolidations at the same time on that same platform. Shared master data, shared structures, it's one and the same, right? Then on the other side of the house, you have corporate planning, departmental planning, analytics, predictive. All these product capabilities have been bundled together into one tool set in SAP Analytics Cloud. So historically, if you look at these two boxes here, this is where most CPM solutions were. They provided standalone application and tools for consolidations and corporate planning. And that might be one set of licenses, that might be two set of licenses, but one platform, with BPC that you have for SAP that's providing both, right? The direction here from a strategic perspective is to put consolidations back in the core and to combine corporate planning, again, with departmental planning, with analytics and predictive on one platform, one tool that also can read and report directly from your S4 system. So again, actually Gartner aligned with this strategic direction based off where the market is going, has moved away from the idea of CPM in general, right? Corporate performance management. Because your planning solution should not just be for corporate, right? It needs to incorporate analytics, needs to incorporate departmental planning. So from a product perspective, this is the SAP published strategic direction update. On the planning side, the cloud first strategy, SAP Analytics Cloud, is a standalone planning with S4 or with other cloud apps, with SAP data, with non-SAP data, sits on top of S4, sits on top of BW, right? BPC, still a strategic solution for planning for customers requiring an on-premise solution. But again, if you read earlier, SAP's strategy is cloud first, right? So the bulk of their future investment is going into SAP Analytics Cloud. BPC, very mature tool, not going anywhere anytime soon. On the consolidation side, SAP's focus, again, aligned with that previous slide, is SAP S/4HANA for group reporting, which sits within S/4HANA and is actually embedded within the core, right, to enable continuous real-time accounting. For standalone applications for consolidations, the SAP strategy is still BPC, right? So if you require a standalone consolidations application to consolidate data from multiple general ledgers, BPC is still that recommended solution set. And this is just a quote from SAP: primary investments will be made in SAP Analytics Cloud for planning and for consolidation S/4HANA for group reporting. So the nice thing is, through a myriad of different acquisitions, there was a lot of competition within the planning, consolidation, analytics. There were a lot of different BI tools for SAP historically. And again, some of those were homegrown, some of those were acquired, but there was a lot to pick from. From a financial standpoint, BPC clearly came out the winner, right? It was a great application adopted by thousands and thousands of users. But as SAP moves forward, they really have the opportunity to consolidate these tool sets, take the best from their tools historically, and move forward strategically in line with where the market is going. So with that being said, a very fair question is, what is the future of BPC? So first of all, let me just say, some of the vendors in the marketplace will say BPC is dead. Not true. BPC is definitely not dead. It's still a strategic solution for SAP for the very reasons we just discussed on the previous slides. It is specifically targeted for companies requiring an on-premise planning application or standalone consolidations. So this would apply to companies on the consolidations planning side that aren't on S4 yet, right? Or that prefer an on-premise approach, aren't quite ready to move to the cloud. Again, SAP BPC is a fully mature, functioning planning consolidations application that can pretty much do anything you want in it. The current published mainstream maintenance for it is through 2024, another 5 years. SAP is still supporting tools from a couple versions back at ECCS, BCS from versions ago. And again, this tool is strategic for SAP. But their focus is on being a cloud company and on the roadmap that we showed previously. So again, the majority of their investment is going into SAP Analytics Cloud and group reporting. As you look at SAP Analytics Cloud for existing BPC customers who are interested in the cloud approach, SAP Analytics Cloud does speak natively with SAP BPC. So there are scenarios where, in the future, if you look to upgrade to Analytics Cloud, you could do it in a big bang, or you could do it in kind of a hybrid mode, where you're using SAP Analytics Cloud, for example, to do departmental planning and passing that back to your consolidations application. It's a pretty common first step that we've seen for companies that we're working with today. So BPC, in the last couple of years, BPC 11 has been released, which is the new version. Just a few months ago, SAP, again, continuing to invest, has released SAP BPC 11.1, which is supported in core to their BW4 2.0 platform, that business warehouse platform. SAP's latest version of BPC, the key tenets, simplicity, modern interface, they've updated that, high performance, openness. And it also runs natively on the SAP HANA platform. So what that means with the BPC solution set, it is actually on version 11 built for HANA from a performance perspective. So it kind of changes the paradigm with what you can do with OLAP type analysis, reporting, analytics, and planning in a cube-based environment. So which actually means within this platform, you can have dimensions that are 900,000 members. We have customers with, dimensions that are 400,000 plus members. So it really changes the way utilizing SAP's HANA's powerful database that you can do cube-based reporting, analytics, and planning that otherwise you would have had to historically build many different applications for, or you would have had to do offline. So it's pretty neat being able to leverage the power of this database to really change the way that you can use these models again. There are competitive vendors out there that don't have databases powerful enough to do this type of analysis and planning and to extend. So they actually have created relational databases and called that a innovation to be able to cater to these larger data sets and business unit requirements. But with that, you really lose the ability to slice and dice your reporting like you can within a cube. So very powerful on HANA, really supports really large application sets, extends to very detailed business requirements that you couldn't traditionally do in OLAP analysis. So pretty cool. If you are an existing BPC Microsoft customer, existing BPC NetWeaver customer, not on HANA yet, it's something to consider. The migration here does kind of open up opportunity to do other things, look at things a little bit differently, extend to the business, and if you have performance considerations, we've seen reports that went from a minute, with really detailed applications go to a few seconds, right, sitting on top of HANA. All right, so next in the agenda, we're going to cover off BPC, right? From a strategic, we covered off the strategic roadmap. Next, we're going to focus a little bit more on the SAP Consolidations group reporting application, and then followed with SAP Analytics Cloud and their respective roadmap and solution capabilities. So again, to repeat, the SAP strategic direction for consolidations applications now, today, is really focused on if you are running S4, it's SAP S/4HANA Cloud for Group Reporting, right? So it's embedded within your S/4 application. If you are not running S/4, or if you require a standalone consolidations application, BPC is that solution. And again, on a go-forward basis, aligned with SAP's overall strategy, the focus and investment is going into the core of continuous accounting, including consolidations back in S/4HANA. Functionality, kind of from again, as it relates to continuous accounting, within this tool set, you're actually sitting on S4, using those same structures, consolidating real-time, reporting real-time, and your reporting tool for that solution is also actually SAP Analytics Cloud. And not only does it provide real-time reporting, but it provides the ability to easily go back all the way to your journal level of detail, as required. It has that audit trail. So I covered this off a little bit already. Continuous accounting, again, key to SAP's strategy. Reduce total cost of ownership because you're not building a separate consolidations application and building integration and building ETL, right? If you're an SAP-focused shop with, some non-SAP presence, you can load that data directly into S4 as well. Consolidate your SAP data up real time. And you're reducing that TCO from a maintenance perspective. It is engineered for the cloud, so SAP had the opportunity to rebuild their consolidations, and they rebuilt it first on top of their cloud platform, so that it can, scale and drive cost efficiencies, support different, tenants, single tenant, multi-tenant, cloud-based approaches. So you can go purely with a SaaS-based approach with this solution, or you can go on-premise with your S4 ERP if you'd like, right? So this just kind of shows the technical, architecture for SAP Consolidations Group Reporting. Again, it's sitting within the S4 platform. Its reporting tool on top of it for analytics planning is SAP Analytics Cloud. So SAP Analytics Cloud, which we'll talk about in just a minute here, can read real time from SAP S4 for operational KPIs, financial reporting, to the extent you have that pushed down to your ledger, managed there. Group reporting data collection, so this allows you to collect data from non-SAP sources. And then this also obviously works with the SAP Disclosure Management tool. And this just kind of reiterates that point, where SAP is going and where Gartner is expecting companies to go, right? From a consolidations perspective, there historically were technical constraints on doing some of this modeling and reporting directly on your transactional system for a variety of different reasons. But really, SAP is bringing, again, with the powerful HANA platform, is bringing consolidations to the core, and they're removing all of this ETL and data warehouse. And, you don't need to do all this setup to be able to run your consolidations and drill back to the transactional level detail. You don't need separate servers, et cetera, right? So it's simplifying this platform. Yes.
Sorry to interrupt, but I think a lot of the participants are having a hard time seeing your screen. I can see it, but we're getting a lot of questions saying that they cannot. I don't know. I can see your screen completely.
Yeah, apologize. I don't think some of these slides were promoted. So I think I have it fixed now.
Okay,
I will provide. Yeah, I will provide. Happy to provide a copy of this document. Sorry, I didn't catch that earlier. Have some great content here that would love to share as it relates to that strategic direction. As I was just talking through the strategy and kind of go forward, right? I'm really sad that that wasn't promoting correctly. So I'll just kind of flip through here for a second, but this is really what I was referencing. The strategy. I have some links here, some additional information, quotes from SAP, supporting from their product leadership and management, supporting the assertions, just really have taken this messaging, and this is very much aligned with SAP's published roadmap and content, and provides it really all in one place, especially as SAP has from a strategic perspective, pushed consolidations back to the core, right? Planning and analytics and reporting from a go-to-market perspective, and a product perspective is managed by different groups now. So hopefully, one of my goals with this presentation is really putting all this strategy information for you in one place. So again, happy to provide a copy of this so that you have some of these supporting documents, and you can benefit from my work effort to simplify this for you. Okay, so I was just promoting to this next slide here, again, just talking about the simplification with SAP's group reporting sitting on top of S4, not requiring what you see on the left-hand side, what you get with traditional consolidation solutions with a FCCS, with an HFM, with a OneStream, or with another tool, right? Some of the influencing factors for group reporting. So again, one of the nice things about moving to the cloud is it's given SAP a chance to kind of reimagine and consolidate their product portfolio. So within the US, BPC clearly won out from a consolidations perspective, right? It was acquired, BPC was an acquisition of SAP OutlookSoft solution set. SAP had homegrown and built out ECCS and BCS. They had also built out another version of BPC, providing real-time consolidations as SAP S/4HANA. And then a fourth solution set was available, financial consolidations, which is mainly adopted in Europe. But all these different tools had their pros and cons. Again, in the US, BPC clearly won out, thousands and thousands of customers, although there were quite a number of customers that were leveraging SAP's ECCS and BCS consolidations toolkit. Those two toolkits were very focused on integration with the core, whereas BPC and FC had other strengths and weaknesses. So really, as SAP is reimagining and has rebuilt their consolidations tool, they've taken tenets from each one of these solutions and have the opportunity to rebuild it for the cloud. So this is actually, again, happy to share a copy of this document. I'm not going to go through this in detail, but this shows SAP's published product roadmap for the RSMP Consolidations Group Reporting tool. Shows you what they're focusing their time and effort and dollars and man hours on. So happy to provide a copy of this document, but a lot of investment obviously happening here. All right, so next we'll transition to SAP Analytics and Planning Solutions. So again, what SAP has done to align with the market and customer demand is create one solution for planning, analytics, and predictive, and that's SAP Analytics Cloud. So on a go-forward basis, the cloud approach with S4, right? SAP Analytics Cloud is your solution for financial planning, for operational planning. It is your solution for finished published reporting, and it is your solution for operational analytics, right? And it is also the platform for SAP Digital Boardroom. So SAP Digital Boardroom, the application where you essentially have a big screen, touch screen that you can interact with, in the meeting scenario where you can, drag and drop and click and change filters and drill into your executive dashboard or operational dashboards. That sits on Analytics Cloud, right? So Digital Boardroom is essentially hardware that sits on top of SAP Analytics Cloud. So SAP Analytics Cloud is that solution for planning, analyzing, and reporting. Again, for customers requiring on-premise planning solution, that's SAP BPC. So this just illustrates, again, what we've talked about a little bit earlier. SAP's put together not just planning, BI, reporting into this tool set, but also augmented analytics. So there are hardcore predictive capabilities, integration with R, for data scientists, but there's also automated analytic capabilities for more of your business analysts and financial analysts baked into this tool set, right? And then lastly, they have the capability to do application design. So if you want to get really, really specific with what you're building out, right, you can build it from the ground up with leveraging the SAP APIs and coding. But ideally, 90% of what you're building should be coming out of the self-serve interface and reporting tool within the SAP Analytics Cloud. But there is that capability for more complex reporting. And as you look at SAP Analytics Cloud, again, you could move there, the big bang. There's the ability to do hybrid approaches if you're leveraging SAP BPC today with your on-premise investments. And just like for the group reporting solution with SAP Analytics Cloud, there are a variety of different influencing products and factors. So one of the nice things that I like with SAP Analytics Cloud after working with BPC for the past decade plus, working with SAP Analytics Cloud for the last 3-4 years, is that it really learned from BPC. So bring some of the best content and logic and structures from that tool, both on the reporting and planning side that I've worked with from a long time. But again, it actually combines the investment that SAP had with BobJ for analytics, Bex for query writing, KXEN for the predictive. So it's combined a lot of capabilities from these historical tools into one tool set. And the same developers that worked on these different tools are now part of the SAP Analytics Cloud product development team. Combined with product leadership team headed in Vancouver, they have thousands of developers working on this product, pushing out new content, every handful of weeks, right? So you have more developers working on this tool than some of the competitors have employees in their whole company, right? So again, it combines these tool sets on the one. It's built for the cloud natively, scale up, scale down. It does offer a multi-tenant or single-tenant approach, so it really is SaaS-based, right? So it does offer the efficiencies of a multi-tenancy model. When you look to deploy this to departmental managers, salespeople, it's not cost prohibitive from that perspective. There are no performance considerations. You don't need to use a relational table. All cube-based, very dynamic, very analytical, easier to deploy, simple on Chrome, right? Not using Excel, right? So again, it was built on HANA. So just like BPC we talked about earlier, HANA kind of changing the paradigm with your cube-based environments, not having to stop at a 90,000 member dimension because of performance considerations. You can have hundreds of thousands of members in your different dimensions and cubes on these HANA platforms without sacrificing reporting and without sacrificing performance. So again, very different from the other vendors that are out there today. SAP Analytics Cloud, now it does combine those toolkits. There's a big focus on modernizing these tools and simplification. And one of the keys from the planning perspective is collaboration as well. So this tool is built to extend your corporate planning out into your different departmental plannings and to enable collaboration, at every step of the way. So be happy to share more of that at a later detail, but it's pretty cool from the innovations around that area. And it does have the ability to, again, stand alone, where it can read real time from S/4HANA. It has a number of different, data sources that you can plug into: SAP ERP, BW, HANA, non-SAP data sources, file share service. Has a lot of different pre-configured APIs. But again, it is built to be able to, really without an integration layer, leverage your structures out of S4. And it is being built embedded as, again, the go-to analytics and reporting solution for SAP, the one solution, going forward from a strategic perspective on the cloud. It is being embedded in all the different applications. So if you look at S4HANA Cloud, right? SAP Analytics Cloud is embedded within it. And that is the direction that's being taken for S/4HANA on-premise as well. Not just the core, but it's being embedded to all the different applications. Success Factors announced that direction, earlier this year, for example. We talked about the digital boardroom, but again, SAP Analytics Cloud is the platform for digital boardroom. So if that's something you're interested in, it's easy to expand in that area with your investment. And this just shows the SAP Analytics Cloud roadmap. Happy to provide a copy of this, but just to really boil it down and make it, very simple for you. The last couple years before 2019, a lot of companies were exploring and taking steps in analytics, SAP Analytics Cloud. The beginning of this year, that paradigm really started to change. We see a lot of large enterprise companies adopting SAP Analytics Cloud. We see the product capability exceeding historical products that were available. So from my perspective, as an external third-party consulting firm and architect, as well as from SAP's perspective, this is the solution set for planning analytics. It's getting wide adoption, and they're just continuing to release new content, week over week within the tool set, right? So happy to provide a copy of this. Not going to go through it in detail, but for myself, after working with BPC for a decade plus, this tool set has already surpassed it, right, after 3 years. So on the planning, reporting, analytics side, obviously on the consolidations, that's something to explore with group reporting in S4. If you're not an SAP company, if you run BPC Microsoft and you run many different general ledgers, you can look at, BPC is supported through 2024 again, so there's no rush. If you're on Microsoft, it's through 2022. You could upgrade to the NetWeaver platform or the HANA platform, so they get you through 2024. Or you could look at other solutions, right? If you're consolidating 5 or 10 different tools, with SAP's focus really being on bringing that back to the core, you have a lot of different options. Again, we'd be happy to help you evaluate those options. And this just speaks to, BPC continues to be a strategic product for SAP, but it is very, very mature. A lot of the go-forward investment in it is helping make sure that it works really, really well with SAP's Analytics Cloud solution set. And they will continue to do customer requested enhancements where it makes sense to the solution. So this next slide just kind of highlights for customers that are on HANA or on BPC, on BW today. I talked about it a little bit earlier, but the go-forward direction, is consolidations in S4, SAP Analytics Cloud for planning and predictive. You could start with a hybrid scenario as you look to make a change, or you could take a big bang scenario as you look to modernize your planning and consolidation platform. So SAP Analytics Cloud does speak natively with the SAP on-premise solution set. So these are just a couple examples of how you could get started with that tool, of just little kind of proof of concept, start getting comfortable. A lot of capabilities within the tool. It can plug into your existing investments for reporting, for digital boardroom, for pipeline reporting, workforce analytics, to start seeing and getting you comfortable with the capabilities. It can, again, help you extend your corporate financial planning tools. There are a myriad of different potential use cases for kind of more of a quick start on the application. This is an example of one of our customers that has leveraged SAP Analytics Cloud sitting on top of BPC as that kind of first step to the cloud, right? And as you can see, they were able to deploy this pretty wide scale in a month based off their current SAP investments. Because we didn't have to rebuild the application, right? You can actually just port it in SAP Analytics Cloud, write the results back to it. All right. So that's the extent of what I intend to cover today. Again, happy to provide a copy of this document. Just reach out to Lauren if you're interested, and she can forward it to you. But at this point, I'll open it up to any questions, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up.
John, I'm not seeing any. Oh, wait, there's a question right now. Are you able to see those?
No, I can't. I'm having trouble seeing them. If you want to read off any, I can try to answer them, or I can always follow up one-on-one with folks. I'll leave it up to you, Lauren.
Sure. One question. We don't have BPC or S/4HANA. Can we use planning for SAP Analytics?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, SAP Analytics Cloud, the planning capabilities within that tool set can sit on top of, any structured data source, right? So, that could be an extract from a third-party system where you set up connections or pass a flat file. You can dynamically build hierarchies and load transactional data without having to maintain it, manually. So again, non-SAP. And then with your SAP investments, if it's, BW 7.5, if it's BW4, if it's SAP ERP, you can pull those structures into SAP Analytics Cloud for planning purposes. And then one of the nice things, again, with the SaaS-based approach is, to procure SAP Analytics Cloud, you can literally go on their website and buy a handful of licenses. Would definitely recommend taking a structured approach, with goals and a project plan towards what you want to accomplish. But there's no IT dependencies there, right? You want to stand up an environment, you go online, you can, get started literally with a credit card, and have your application within 24 hours. We also offer some different accelerated kits for companies looking to leverage their current investment and get, an application, example application prototype stood up in a couple weeks. We'll, set up the connections, we'll pull in and help build the model, build a first, prototype example, all at a very, pretty reasonable cost. And we also have different accelerated business content for planning, analytics, reporting. And SAP has a huge app store for all of that, in addition to what SimpleFi has, right? So there are hundreds of partners that have already built apps on the SAP Analytics Cloud platform, as well as SAP that you can download when you purchase a copy of it.
Okay. Another question.
Lauren, any other questions?
Yeah, there's a couple more. We are on ECC 6 and using BEX. Should we go to S/4HANA first, or can we use BPC?
So you can use BPC for consolidation purposes. If you're not running S4, if you're not going to S4 in the next 6 months, right? BPC is strategic consolidation solution, been around for a long time. Supported at least through 2024, end of 2024, right? So, yep, you can certainly utilize that tool set. You'd be in company at thousands of customers. On the planning side, if I were starting afresh, if you require on-premise for planning, then would look at BPC for sure. However, SAP strategy aligned with the market is cloud first. So if you're open to a cloud deployment, the recommended solution for SAP planning would be SAP Analytics Cloud.
Okay. Couple more questions.
And they do work together as well, right? If you were to implement BPC for consolidations with, ECC 6, right? SAP Analytics Cloud, you don't have to build models twice, right? If you build a model in BPC, you can use it in SAP Analytics Cloud and extend it for planning purposes.
Okay, great. Next question. Does SimpleFi assist clients with overall central finance migrations, or is its advisory services limited to planning and consolidations?
From a roadmap perspective, as well as strategy advisory, it is something that we'll assist with, but technical implementation, we focus on planning, consolidations, financial reporting, operational reporting, BW. We do not have technical expertise in central finance. Could help you, connect you with other partners that do, but this is the space we focus on, is really more catered to Office of the CFO, planning, consolidations, reporting.
Okay. With the scenario of ECC and S4, HC, and third-party ERP, having a BPC and having BPC on-premise as well as SAC, would it make sense to keep it in BPC or push actuals into SAC and use SAC as the central piece?
It's based off the complexity of your consolidation requirements, right? So for companies with more complex consolidation ETL requirements, BPC is a great application and central repository for that consolidations. That can be really a limited, more of a limited user set based off the capabilities in SAP Analytics Cloud. So you can have a BPC application that's 15 users, which is your corporate consolidations group, any of your, basically BU controllers, right, or accountants that are submitting and approving their sub-consolidations if required. So the BPC application set can be a smaller instance that enables you to cater to more complex consolidation requirements, acts as that ETL and repository because it has a great ETL tool, and then SAP Analytics Cloud can extend it from there, the reporting and planning and analytics to your greater community so they can leverage that plus all the extra functionality that's available there.
Okay, and then a follow-up to that question, can we use SAC as the presentation front end for planning with BPC as the back end instead of Excel-based?
Yeah, and that's actually where a lot of folks have started, right? So you can, if you were to, for example, to move forward with SAC to, purchase and, log into your environment set, you can do reporting directly on top of SAP BPC, and then you can extend that for planning purposes, and you're not rebuilding the models in SAC, right? You set up a connection to BPC, you point it to the model and say that's what I want, and that's the extent of it, right? You're not spending a week doing that.
Okay.
And we do have customers doing just that, right? Again, that's where a lot of folks have taken some of their first steps.
Another question, are there any documents for standalone planning for SAP Analytics?
Yes. Yeah, there are a lot of, documents, roadmaps, demo content, business content out there. Would definitely, encourage you to look at SAP's website. We have a number of YouTube videos with demonstrations on them. Be happy to help with, companies if you want assistance with your own evaluation. If you want a comprehensive planning demo, that's something we can set up with companies, one-on-one, and we're happy to do, because our hope is that's an investment in a future relationship, if that's the direction that you decide to take. So a lot of content out there, a lot of business content, third-party content, SAP content, reading materials, videos, and, both from us, SAP, and other partners.
Okay. How is the cash flow handled in HANA SAP Finance? How the cash flow is handled in? I think she was referencing that, maybe how the cash flow is handled in HANA SAP Finance.
Yeah, so, and we could set up a separate kind of deep dive into that conversation, but essentially what you do is you set up statistical accounts to be able to capture those business rules and calculations so that you can produce automated cash flow statements.
Okay. Before all our business units are on S4, would it make sense to start using SAC for planning from ERP and Smart Insight standpoint without BPC for business units live on S4, and not necessarily full-blown planning from corporate standpoint? Once all BU are on S4, then we can roll out to corporate?
That's a pretty specific scenario, and I'm not sure I quite followed all of that. If you send me a note, I'll put my contact information up here in a second. I'd be happy to have a conversation with you in regards to it and help answer it. The high level response, and again, I don't know the details of the specific scenario. But if you're starting today on the planning side, again, and you're open to a cloud deployment, SAP Analytics Cloud is the recommended solution for planning and reporting, financial reporting as well, right? If you're not on S4 yet, if you need consolidation, advanced ETL, there's BPC and your warehouse to cater to those requirements. So I don't know if I quite answered the question, but I'd be happy to have a separate conversation or shoot me an email.
Okay. I think one more. How does IBP fit into all of this?
Great question. IBP is really focused on a much more narrow user base, which is your supply chain. Right. So SAP Integrated Business Planning is really an application that was built similar to SAP Analytics Cloud on a lot of the core tenets of BPC, but it's very much targeted to supply chain. So if you want to do bill of material planning, you want to do production planning, capacity planning, those are things that you could do in SAP Analytics Cloud. But the IBP tool set is really built purpose intentful for supply chain requirements specifically. So if you are a large enterprise company with complex supply chain production capacity planning requirements, I would recommend looking at that target solution for supply chain. And SAP Analytics Cloud does plug into that tool set. So when you look at sales planning, you look at departmental planning, operational planning, financial planning, SAP Analytics Cloud is that tool for supply chain. You could use SAP Analytics Cloud, but for large, complex organizations, would recommend looking at the SAP IBP tool, and it can pull and share structures data back and forth with SAP Analytics Cloud.
Okay. I think that's it. Well, great. Thanks, everyone, for joining today's webinar. Like John said, we will definitely be sending out that slide deck for you along with the recording. Not sure how that will be, if you'll be able to see the slides there, hopefully. But if you'd like to set up a separate call as well, we can walk through everything with you. And, I'm going to be sending an email, so look for that coming from me, Lauren Milojevic, and you can follow up and we can get things scheduled. So again, thanks for joining, John. Great presentation. Sorry about the technical difficulties, and we will talk to you all soon. Thanks.
Thanks a lot.